In San Antonio, officers carried out a massive raid arresting more than 140 people.
Tonight, our Lisa Nieves breaks down the new video and the impact on businesses.
In San Antonio, Texas, a massive federal operation unfolded as officers carried out a coordinated raid that resulted in more than 140 arrests. What appeared to be a quiet commercial area on the city's north side was, in reality, the center of a large-scale criminal enterprise operating in plain sight. To a casual observer, the streets looked dormant, like any other commercial district shutting down for the night. But behind the walls of a seemingly vacant property, an illicit nightclub was active. Inside, an underground economy thrived, fueled by narcotics trafficking, human exploitation, and organized violence. Most local residents avoided the area, sensing the danger. Law enforcement, however, had been watching closely. For months, federal authorities monitored the location, gathering intelligence and tracking activity. When the moment arrived, the calm of the early morning was shattered by a decisive and overwhelming law enforcement response. This was not a routine inspection or a standard arrest operation. A joint task force led by the FBI and Homeland Security Investigations moved in with precision. Tactical units surrounded the property, sealing off all exits. This operation was not aimed at low-level street crime. Intelligence had identified the site as a major stronghold for Tren de Aragua, one of the most dangerous transnational gangs operating in the Western Hemisphere. As agents secured the building, suspect after suspect was escorted outside and lined up under heavy guard. By the end of the operation, 143 individuals were taken into custody. All detainees were transferred into federal immigration custody, marking one of the largest enforcement actions of its kind in San Antonio's recent history. As the operation continued, the full scope of the raid became clear. Federal officials later confirmed that 51 of the individuals taken into custody were verified members of Tren de Aragua. This was not a Sluicki encounter or a random gathering. Investigators believed the gang had established this location as a command center, assuming they could operate undetected deep inside Texas. Tren de Aragua is not a local street gang. It is a highly organized transnational criminal organization that originated inside Venezuelan prisons and rapidly expanded across South America before reaching the United States. Its members are known for extreme brutality, strict internal discipline, and the ability to blend into migrant communities while carrying out criminal operations. The gang's activities extend far beyond drug trafficking. They are involved in human smuggling, extortion, forced labor, and targeted violence against rivals and those who resist their control. What happened in San Antonio was not simply a police raid. It was a counter-operation against a foreign criminal network embedded within an American city. The discovery of 51 confirmed members in a single location sent a clear message. This group was not passing through. They were recruiting, organizing, and fortifying their presence. The San Antonio site functioned as both a logistics hub and a revenue center, making it a critical target for federal authorities. Officials say dismantling the operation required months of careful planning, covert surveillance, and advanced investigative techniques. Every movement was mapped, every connection analyzed, ensuring that when the strike came, the gang would have no opportunity to escape or regroup. Inside the building, investigators discovered that the operation went far beyond an after-hours party. The location functioned as a fully active base of operations. Many of the confirmed gang members had prior criminal histories in Venezuela and had crossed the border illegally to rebuild their hierarchy inside the United States. They brought with them a rigid prison-based code that demands absolute loyalty and punishes betrayal with extreme violence. This structure allows the gang to operate with discipline and fear, making it far more dangerous than typical street-level groups. Local law enforcement alone would not have been able to dismantle an organization this complex. The raid was the result of an unprecedented collaboration between the FBI, Homeland Security Investigations, ICE, the Texas Anti-Gang Center, and the San Antonio Police Department. Federal intelligence was combined with local street-level knowledge to identify key figures and map the gang's internal structure. Surveillance teams closely monitored the site for weeks. They tracked traffic patterns, documented security behavior, and identified individuals who appeared to be giving orders. Analysts also followed digital activity, tracing communication through messaging apps and social media platforms to connect the San Antonio cell with leadership operating in South America. Every digital interaction became a clue. Each online post, message, or image helped investigators understand who was in charge, who handled money, and who enforced discipline. By the time agents moved in, they knew exactly what they were walking into. When agents finally breached the location, they encountered more than armed suspects. Many individuals inside had no official identification, having discarded documents during their journey into the country. This created an immediate challenge for investigators, separating victims and low-level associates from hardened gang members. To solve this, forensic specialists relied on physical indicators unique to Tren de Aragua. Gang-specific tattoos, symbols, and markings were carefully documented. These identifiers, combined with intelligence records, allowed agents to confirm membership on the spot. This process was critical in determining who posed the greatest threat. During processing, agents conducted rapid field interviews and physical examinations. Identifying 51 confirmed gang members in a single night was a significant intelligence victory. It strongly suggested that authorities had prior knowledge of exactly who would be present. This was not a random gathering. It was likely a mandatory meeting for senior members. The logistics of the arrest were executed on a military scale. Tactical teams established a hard perimeter around the block, using armored vehicles to block all exits. The objective was speed and total control. By overwhelming the suspects simultaneously, law enforcement eliminated any chance of resistance or escape. Despite the presence of violent offenders, the operation concluded without a major shootout. The success of the raid was a result of precise planning, overwhelming force, and flawless timing. During the search of the property, authorities recovered 3 firearms and approximately $35,000 in cash. While those numbers may seem small compared to large cartel seizures, officials emphasized that this location was not a traditional drug stash house. Its true purpose was controlling people, not storing product. Tren de Aragua's primary source of profit is human exploitation. The cash recovered likely represented extorted wages, trafficking fees, or payments collected from migrants forced to work off debts. The real value of the operation was not measured in dollars, but in the damage done to the gang's operational capacity. By arresting 51 confirmed members, federal authorities effectively dismantled the San Antonio cell. Leadership was removed, foot soldiers were detained, and the group's ability to coordinate was destroyed. Without its core members, the organization lost its local command structure overnight. The investigation also relied heavily on confidential informants within migrant communities. Tren de Aragua rules through fear, extorting vulnerable migrants and threatening their families back home. Breaking that silence requires patience and trust. Officials believe courageous individuals within the community provided critical information that confirmed the location of this stronghold. This raid sent a powerful message to victims living under the gang's control. The federal government is watching, and the gang is not untouchable. Their grip on this part of San Antonio was broken in a single night. The involvement of immigration and customs enforcement changed the outcome of the operation entirely. Because many of those arrested are foreign nationals, federal authorities have tools that go beyond standard criminal prosecution. Deportation and removal proceedings now play a central role in ensuring these individuals cannot return to American communities. For confirmed gang members, this approach is strategic. Instead of serving limited prison sentences and eventually being released, they can be removed from the country altogether. While repatriation to Venezuela presents legal and diplomatic challenges, the intent is clear: to eliminate the threat, not merely delay it. As buses were loaded and suspects transported away, the operation made its message unmistakable. This was a complete sweep. Authorities did not target only leadership figures. Everyone inside the building was detained, identified, and vetted. This scorched earth approach prevents the gang from quickly rebuilding its network. The suspects lost more than their freedom. Their anonymity was stripped away. Faces, fingerprints, tattoos, and biometric data are now permanently entered into federal law enforcement databases. Even if they attempt to resurface in another city, they can no longer hide in the shadows. The San Antonio raid demonstrated a new standard of enforcement. It showed that coordinated federal action can dismantle even the most secretive and violent criminal organizations when intelligence, timing, and authority are aligned. To fully understand the threat, it is important to know where this organization came from. Tren de Aragua was not born on city streets. It emerged inside the prison system of Venezuela, where it operated as a parallel government behind bars. Unlike typical gangs, it enforced its own laws, collected fees, and controlled entire prison facilities. From those prisons, the group expanded outward, building a criminal empire across South America. They established operations in countries such as Colombia, Peru, and Chile before pushing north into the United States. Intelligence analysts have traced their movement along migrant routes, where they embedded themselves within caravans and preyed on vulnerable asylum seekers. Migrants were forced to pay for protection, transportation, or passage. Those who could not pay were exploited or threatened with violence against their families back home. When these migrants eventually reached the United States, the gang was often waiting for them, ready to reassert control. The San Antonio location was part of this broader expansion strategy. It was not an isolated incident, but one link in a growing national network. Similar patterns have been observed in other cities, where the gang has taken over apartment complexes, hotels, and commercial properties. By shutting down this stronghold, federal authorities disrupted a key node in a much larger operation. It was a reminder that this threat is organized, deliberate, and constantly evolving. The San Antonio raid was not an isolated enforcement action. It fits into a larger national pattern of expansion by Tren de Aragua. In other cities, authorities have documented similar tactics, where legitimate businesses were taken over and converted into centers for trafficking, extortion, and violence. In Texas, Colorado, and New York, the gang has seized control of apartment complexes, hotels, and nightclubs, terrorizing residents and driving out lawful tenants. These locations become fortified zones where the gang taxes every illicit transaction and controls who comes and goes. The nightclub in San Antonio was simply the latest version of this model. One of the most alarming aspects of Tren de Aragua is its open disregard for law enforcement. In several documented incidents, members have violently confronted police officers, including attacks on uniformed personnel. Intelligence bulletins have warned that some members operate under directives authorizing violence against authorities. When federal tactical teams entered the San Antonio building, they were not just serving warrants. They were entering a hostile environment controlled by individuals with combat experience from turf wars in South America. Many of the confirmed members are battle-hardened and accustomed to using extreme violence to maintain power. By establishing a foothold in San Antonio, the gang was positioning itself to control major transportation corridors, including routes critical to trafficking operations. Stopping that expansion was not optional. It was necessary to prevent the consolidation of a long-term criminal stronghold in the region.